Hi there, welcome to the first video on my new channel name, Wazi TV. This is just a short video that's going to highlight a new piece of equipment that I've got here in my garage, which is the ArcDroid plasma cutting robot, which you see in the background over here. Lots of videos on YouTube already of the ArcDroid, which is a great little piece of equipment if you're into plasma cutting. The video I'm about to show you is more about my layout and my setup here than it is about the ArcDroid itself. As you can see by the stuff going on in the background here, I've got a lot of things going on, and space is at a premium, to say the least. So I want to show you my welding / plasma cutting arrangement that utilizes the ArcDroid. This used to just be a welding cart back before I got the ArcDroid, but I needed to get a dedicated space for this machine, so it involved me converting this welding cart. So this is the welding cart, as you can see in the background, and I'll just kind of take you for a little walking tour of it as I've got my camera here. So lower this down a little bit, and you can see I've got a folding table here. This folding table has a couple of legs. Hard to see them here. Let's see if I can get us down a little bit. They fold out here, and there's another channel out there of a hobbyist fellow that has the ArcDroid. I think it's 8.1 liter. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he has a cart kind of similar to this, very small and purpose built. And he had some issues with his cart. I see he came out with a video like yesterday or something like that, which was great. But again, I built this a few weeks ago just to kind of fit my ArcDroid. So this table that you see here does fold down. It does have a tray on the bottom, so it's a wet table. And let's see if I can do this without causing too much grief here. I can't really do that. So I guess what I'll do is I'll cut here for the moment, and we'll come back to this. All right, we'll try to do it this way. So here's my cart from a distance. Let's see if we can get you in there. A little bit hard to see, but it's on casters, as you can see here. And in my cart, I've got my Miller-Matic 220 multi-process machine and my Miller 375 Extreme plasma cutter. Down at the bottom of the cart there, I've got just a storage area, my foot pedals down there, and a bunch of jigs and things that I use for different fabrication purposes. And then coming up here, I have an arm that's welded on the corner of the bench here. It used to be on the other side of the bench, but when I got the ArcDroid, I had to modify everything. So got an arm up here, holds all my grinders. It also has hook here where I have a bungee cord attached to my plasma torch. My plasma torch is hanging down nicely over top of my work table here for the ArcDroid to use. The ArcDroid is there. Here's my table. A few of the things that I've built in the first couple of weeks that I've had the ArcDroid. You can see I got a piece of fire blanket here wrapped around the ArcDroid to kind of protect it. Made a little splash guard to go on the bottom of the torch to keep it from getting wet. I don't know what you guys have. Here's a back view of the cart here. I have fire blankets over top of both of my machines there, kind of just to keep them looking nice. Here's a bit better look at the mechanism I've got for the folding table. It's just a piece of angle iron bolted on here, piece of ready rod, and a nut right here, and then a female receiver here, so I can adjust this up and down a little bit so that I can get that table level enough for the ArcDroid. This is a wet table, as I said, and you can see somewhere down there, there's a 1/4-inch valve that I've welded in a bung so that you can drain the water out of it into a 5-gallon bucket, and then I can fold the table down to save space. The tray itself, I was going to make removable, but I decided to tack it in place. What it is just a piece of 20 gauge steel I had kicking around the shop, and I just man bashed it into a tray and then stuck it under there. So it's custom fit exactly for this cart. And I know there was another YouTuber out there, I think again 8.1 liter, who was saying that he had problems with his mechanism not folding down flush. Well, this one, the way it's set up here, folds down beautifully flush. I made sure to measure where that valve is so it goes into the opening down here. Got my welding gases mounted on the side here. And that's it. It's a pretty tight little unit. It works quite well. And it does all the things I need to do. So I don't know if this is beneficial to anybody out there, if anyone sees ideas here that are any good, but it works out all right for me. It's nice and small, and it comes and goes whenever I want it to come and go. So perfect. Have a great day, everyone. Here's a few things that in the 3 weeks that I've owned the ArcDroid, that I've found to be pretty handy as little side accessory tools that you're probably going to want if you haven't got one already. The first one is this little rake. You may recognize it. I'm not 100% sure what site I got it off, whether it was the ArcDroid site, I think it was, or if it was the one from Lanier Systems. They have a pretty good file sharing thing. So a little rake, you know, to clean out the wet table, so that's handy. Of course, a magnet or two. I got a magnet on a stick and another little magnet here. This is good for grabbing little bits and pieces that kind of get all cockeyed in there as it's cutting, and they get let go if they don't fall down into the tray, and you want to keep them from jamming up against your gun. Magnet's going to be handy. A sheet metal gauge, so you can buy these at your local tool place. I'm up in Canada, so ours is called Princess Auto. It's the same, I guess, as Harbor Freight would be in the States. So sheet metal gauge, thickness gauge, handy to have, not mandatory, but handy. And then probably the handiest pieces I have here is a couple chunks of 3/4 inch plate, just some heavy plate on there. If you've used your ArcDroid much at all, if you've got a piece of plate that's a little bit bigger than the table, you'll know that it kind of has a tendency to bow or whatever. These little weights on here, you can put them on the corners of your workpiece, and it holds them not only in place, but it keeps them from bowing, so you get a nice constant torch height. So pretty handy to have, whether they're 3/4 inch plate or something else, but they're very handy to have. And now I think I'm going to show you kind of a little bit more about the table and how it folds down. I've drained the water out of the table here already, so I'm just going to show you the mechanism and how that kind of works. Let's see if this camera angle works here. So there you go. You see that again. I was telling you the 1/4 inch drain valve on there, so that's my drain valve. It goes on there, and you can see my tray. It's about, I don't know, about 1.5 inches deep, and it's the full size of my cutting table. So don't be scared to, man bash, as I call it, yourself a tray. You can spend a lot of time searching for the right one. It's not that hard to man bash it yourself. So again, here we'll get a zoom in on the mechanism here. It's just a piece of angle iron with some threaded rod that goes into a piece of pipe here that I put a washer on. So using this nut, I can adjust my table up and down so that we can make it level. I just clamp my ground onto the side of it there normally. The table itself is held on with just commercial door hinges. And the table itself comes apart pretty easy. Let's see if I can get this to work here all by my lonesome. So just kind of lift up on it, grab the leg, oh man, a little bit of mess there. Maybe I could have drained it a little bit better. But you can see anyway, it folds up quite tight. Everything's quite handy and packed in there. So it works well for me. One more feature I guess I want to show you before I say goodbye, and this is just to elaborate on another bench that I saw. And again, this is probably 8.1 liter. Again, he has a very similar kind of table setup. It's just 1.5 inch square tubing. But one thing that I thought was different that I'd mentioned between my version of the table and his version of the table is it's not really so much about the table as the way that the table is built. So these tubes here, these two tubes, as you'll see, this one here, and this one here on this side, they run this way on my table. So if I wanted to in the future, I built it this way so I could put some 1.25 inch tubing into these holes, and I can make like a little extendable, you know, a little extendable thing so I could hold longer pieces of metal on there. So that's something that you might want to consider as you're fabbing up your table. Where do you want the open ends of tube? If you're going to have open ends, or if you're going to 45 them and make it look pretty. I chose to leave them open this way. That way I can put a longer strip of metal in here, and then I could cut a pattern, pull the metal a little bit, cut another pattern, pull the metal a little bit, cut another pattern, effectively making it so I could make a fire ring, for example, if I wanted to. So that is my little plasma cart / welding cart setup. Kind of moves where I want it to, and again, fits in here in the garage. As a result of buying that ArcDroid, I had to move my drill press, my sander, the bench vise, all that stuff used to be on my welding cart, but I had to get this new bench. Probably the best thing I ever did. Came out of a science shop at some school. So it's quite well built, and it's a nice little rolling work area for me. So that's what I got going on here in my little double garage in terms of the ArcDroid. Hope you enjoyed what you saw, and we'll talk to you guys later.